The TARDIS has landed inside the burial chamber of an ancient civilization. Barbara, knowing that they're due for a historical, is out of the ship like a shot. She's positively fizzing when she realises they're inside an Aztec temple. As Barbara indulges in some light theft, Susan picks up something she hopes is a primitive knife.
That was one of my specialities, Susan. That was the tragedy of the Aztecs. The whole civilization was completely destroyed, the good as well as the evil.
Susan gets distracted from Barbara's fangirling over the Aztec culture by some cartoons on a wall. As they look, the wall swings open. Susan goes to fetch the others as Barbara heads outside. There she is accosted by an old priest and his guards. The doorway is closed behind her, stopping her escape. A while later, the Doctor, Ian and Susan leave the TARDIS to join Barbara. They find the now closed door and push it open with remarkable ease. Remembering what happened the last time Barbara went off ahead on her own, the travellers explore with some trepidation, stopping only to admire the architecture of the local city. As the Doctor admires the cleanliness of the sacrificial stone, the doorway to the tomb swings shut, trapping them away from the TARDIS. The old priest reappears and greets the travellers. He introduces himself as Ortlock, the High Priest of Knowledge. He promises he means them no harm and has brought them a bouquet to prove it. He talks of serving the one who wears the bracelet of Yetaxa. Susan figures it must be Barbara, as she saw her swipe the bling in the tomb. They are escorted out to see her. Outside, Susan is jump-scared by another high priest. Ian, with uncharacteristic shrewdness, identifies him as the local butcher. As the travellers continue on their way, the two priests converse. First about the weather, and then about politics and religion. The priest of sacrifice, Clotoxor, wants to wait until just before the forecast rain before theatrically revealing Barbara and making a blood sacrifice to their god, thus keeping them in power. Ortlock believes it will rain anyway, but is powerless to stop the bloodshed. Eventually, the Doctor, Ian and Susan are taken to see Barbara. She's sat on a throne and being doted on by strapping young men. I think this is becoming a habit. Turns out Susan was right. Because of the stolen accessory Barbara is wearing, they think she's the reincarnation of the priest. And he was the god Yetaxa.
Yes, but the priest in the tomb's a man. How can you be a reincarnation of him?
Oh, come on, Susan. Ian does a doctor and mispronounces Ortlock.
What was his name?
Ortlock.
That's right, Ortlock.
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 Deciding it's a good idea to keep up the pretence, I think something gets unlocked in Ian at the thought of being servant to Barbara. The travellers plan to figure out a way back into the tomb. The two priests enter with a weather forecast and their plan to reveal Yetaxa to the people just as the rain starts. They also request that Yetaxa's servants be allowed to mingle with the city folk. The Doctor's very keen, but Barbara insists Susan stays with her. Probably because she's afraid the young girl will shoot her mouth off to someone and get them all decapitated. Outside, Clotoxor convinces Ortlock that Ian should have to prove himself as a warrior. He seems so perfectly convinced of how trustworthy he's coming across that even his whispering is so loud that the nearby Doctor and Ian can definitely hear him, no matter how much they pretend to chat and act like they can't in the background.
A warrior favored of the gods.
But Ixter is our chosen warrior.
Let Ixter prove himself more worthy.
Ian agrees to get to grips with some muscular men, while the Doctor is shepherded off to the old people's garden. At the armoury, Ixter, the current commander of the army, is getting to grips with his weapon. As Ian and Clitoxel enter and catch him in the act, he quickly gets over his shock and just brazens it out. Keen to demonstrate his skills, Ixter takes on another warrior. After much wood bashing, he finally bests his opponent and then smashes his favourite shield as the ultimate victory. A clearly threatened Ixter struts his stuff and tries to intimidate Ian. Ian just looks tired of it all throughout. Only looking mildly troubled when it's revealed they will be taking the human sacrifice to the temple for the rain ceremony. Ortlock shows the Doctor around the Garden of Decrepitude, where all the disgustingly old people of 52 or more are sent to potter around and complain about how it was all better in their day. The Doctor catches the eye of Kamika. She sent all a quiver at the Doctor's fast-working mind and drool-free clothing. He spots her too, and Ortlock, who can also predict the hormonal weather, encourages him to talk to her. The Doctor and Kamika get on with some serious flirting.
In spite of the drought, there's plenty of water for the flowers.
Better to go hungry than starve for beauty.
Thank you. All the perfume of the gods.
Just as things start to get nicely heated, Ian turns up, dressed, rather fittingly under the circumstances, like a cock. Kamika makes her excuses and leaves the men to chat. Ian is troubled by the idea of escorting a human sacrifice to the ceremony, but the Doctor insists that he must obey the Aztec traditions. Meanwhile, the women are having a great time. Susan's trying on Barbara's hat, while the teacher admires a stamen. The Doctor barges in and ushers Susan out. Determined to ruin everyone's pleasure as much as Ian did his, he insists that Barbara must let the sacrifice take place. Barbara, now fully activated and in God mode, is having none of it. She insists that she can put a stop to the sacrifices, thus saving the Aztecs when the Spanish discover them.
Not Barbara. Yetaxa.
Oh no, she's got full method. Barbara goes out and admires the newborn young man who's lying across the most uncomfortable sacrificial stone she's ever seen. After 20 minutes on that, Clitoxel's knife is probably a mercy. Ortlock plays to the crowd and Barbara steps forward to the cheers from below. Clitoxel starts his pre-sacrifice spiel and is just about to do the deed when Susan shouts from behind the temple. This spurs Barbara to command the sacrifice be stopped. I do wonder if she would have actually spoken up if Susan hadn't have shouted first. She looked unsure during the build-up, as if she was considering the Doctor's warning. The sacrifice is mightily pissed off at Barbara, so he throws himself off the pyramid, no doubt splashing several spectators. The rain comes on time, and an emboldened Clitoxel demands that Susan be punished for her interference. Ortlock takes Susan off to the seminary, where she can be taught about the Aztecs' customs. A furious Clitoxel denounces Barbara as a god, and promises us, yes, us directly,